You recording?
Yep.
All right, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, March 12th, 2026 at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. The time is now 6:37. We are in session. Okay, the public, you can join the meeting at the Zoom link provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting and providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically. An audio recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act. Madam Secretary, may I have a quorum call, please?
Sir, Alderman Krickner,
Here.
Alderman Tremblay,
Here.
Alderman McNeil,
Here.
Alderman CJ Walker,
Not present.
Alderwoman Madero,
Present.
City Administrator Dr. Johnson,
Here.
City Attorney Ortiz,
Not present.
and everybody's here.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the
Texas state,
Texas,
one state under God,
one
and
and indivisible.
indivisible.
Okay, citizens to be heard. People wishing to speak, please sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner indicated above. At this time, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
No.
Right, move right along. Mayor and administrator announcements. Administrator, would you like to go ahead and go through yours and then I'll follow up with mine?
Yes, sir. Just a few announcements. As mentioned in last meeting, we do have Directors on the Run. It's going to be at Tom Rapino Park on March 19th from 3:30 to 6:30. Some of the service they will offer is retirement personnel, military retirement personnel, files, marriage licensing, and real estate property records, just to name a few, after which personnel can go over to enjoy bingo at the community center. The next one we talked about is the playground inspection. So it was recommended from a PML risk pool representative that we send someone in-house that will be able to do our inspections. So you all would give a chat to me, Mr. Anulis Co-Compliance Officer, Mr. George there. You guys will be able to meet him later. However, it's recommended that we send him and he will be able to take care of our inspections to ensure that we are in compliance. That's in April. Total cost $700 for the course, as well as to take the test. The election applications, we have them here. That's been on the website for the last 30 days. But just a reminder for anyone interested in running, that is on our website. It's been posted on our website, but just a reminder, the deadline for that is August 17th. The last meeting, we also discussed Texas Coin. We do have a contract with those guys that we plan on honoring, and that expires in August of this year, after which we can look at other bids. In fact, we are expecting a check from those guys here next week. That's all I have at this time.
Okay. As far as announcements and updates from myself, the only thing I can really think of at this point is we are actively in pursuit of a couple of different grants that we'll be working on and that we'll put up on the next agenda to discuss. And then I did work with an organization called Good Party to send out some text messages throughout the community to kind of gain some feedback on what are some of the concerns in the area. So I did receive those results, and we can discuss those at a next scheduled meeting as well. I can print those out and have them ready for review. So that's all the announcements that I have at this point. All right, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I'd like to pull item 5A, please.
Okay. Any other discussion on, or do we need to discuss B or C? We can take a motion then to approve B and C of the consent agenda if there's no discussion.
Move to approve B and C, 5B and 5C, the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion from Alderman McNeil and a second from Alderman Crickmer to accept items 5B and 5C for the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Ma'am, you have the floor if you had questions.
Yes, when looking at item 5 on the consent agenda, there's no description of what item 5A or 5B is, just the motions that were made. So I think, I don't recall, I'd have to go find it, but 5A and B do not indicate what they are. Also, 5A has a motion, which is the same exact motion that is 5B, which seems, I don't think that's accurate. And then furthermore, at the very bottom of section 5, it states that 5A was motion to be approved on the consent agenda. So if it was approved on the consent agenda, then there shouldn't have been any motion on it. And there's also no indication that there was a motion to approve item 5B after it was discussed. So I think we need to figure out what those two items are and what exactly, which one had motions and which ones didn't. And did we in fact approve 5A with the original consent agenda, or was there some motions with that? It's just not very clear when I look at it what happened.
Okay, then I think we'll just take this one back and have it on the next consent agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right, so let's move on. Let's see here, staff and committee reports. Administrator Johnson, do you want to go ahead and take this one?
If you don't mind, I'd like to start with Priscilla. I believe she have to leave here shortly. Public Works.
Good evening, council. Just a couple of announcements. I placed a quote with Centerline. I haven't heard back from them for the park, Alvarado Park signs with the arrows, just indicating to the community we have a park on a few of the main streets and side streets. I'll follow up Monday to see where that quote is for that. Was thinking about ordering 8 or 9 of those signs. At the community center, the ramp was in dire need of some replacement of boards. Handrails were completed completely, and we started on replacing some of the boards on the ramp, and made an executive decision to go ahead and replace all the boards. They were in really, really bad shape. It's more of a safety concern. Sometime next week, we are going to try to work on putting possibly a small cover above that door on the wooden ramp one. And also discuss with the city administrator of possibly maybe putting some handrails on the wooden ramp as well. I think it would be, it's not ADA compliant, but I think some handrails would do some of our citizens some justice to be able to grab onto something rather than the top rail, which is not really safe to grab. I think, also I was wanting to, for a couple of future projects for the city hall. Talk to the administrator about possibly maybe putting, some covers over our doors here at City Hall. The front entrance door, if it's pouring down rain. The PD door needs to have like some sort of a cover over it as well. And then my public works hallway. Also, I would like to see if we might be able to build some sort of a platform, nothing extreme, just something small but safe for our animal control department for the animal control facility. Because currently the animal control department is using 2 cinder blocks to get in and out of the building, and that is a major safety concern.
So some steps.
Just a little platform and maybe a step or two with a handrail or something, better than what they have going on right now. So we'll try to keep the cost down to as low as we possibly can. So those are some of my future projects I want to work on for the city. And I think that's all that I have, unless somebody has anything for me. One other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank the individual who introduced our new code enforcement officer to the position that was available. I think this gentleman is going to be a great asset to our city. Been working with him this past week, and I'm very excited where we're going to be headed. I just want to say thank you very much. Been great so far. That's all I have.
I did have a question for you, Ms. Schmidt. Where are we at in terms of getting that extra surface or whatever it's called that you intend to put along the walking trail? The weather's just prime for our citizens to get out there and start using that, and I want to try and give them a prediction of a timeline for making that more stable for them to walk on.
If council will give me the okay, as far as maybe purchasing some extended material to work on that project before it gets too hot this summer, we'll get on that immediately.
Well, you did purchase some road
I
base, no?
we-
we
Is
already
that-
approved you to purchase it.
We purchased some road base, and that's for potholes that we have currently in the subdivision that we were doing some road, there's some side road erosions that we were filling that in with some road base and then putting asphalt on top of it. Okay, well, I apologize for that, and just then I'll get on that and get the materials ordered and start trying to put a Band-Aid on that walking trail as best as we
Yeah,
can.
the mayor, I mean, I know you were out dealing with family issues, but I think the mayor had indicated he had approved some sort of purchase because it was within some limit. Mayor?
Yeah, so I mean, you have
I'd like-
budget for it, so just get a quote, that way we can, the administrator can take a look at it and let's get it done.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Okay,
So my animal control supervisor, she's out right now due to a family emergency. However, there's 3 updates. Good news is we have Austin Pets Alive. They were taking our animals monthly. Now they take them every 2 weeks. So we're moving forward with that. Currently we have 16 animals. We have 15 dogs and 1 hen, which will eventually be transported within the next 2 weeks. Our supervisor is also working with McNeil for this next animal shelter committee on the 25th at 4:30. If you need any questions, that's all I have.
we want to move on to the financial report.
All right. On the monthly reconciliation of the checking account, statement beginning on February 1st started with 5,583. God, what's wrong with me? 513,132.89. The checks and payments cleared at $86,965.59. Deposits and other credits were $192,481.22. Leaving an ending balance as of February 2020, 28, think it's $643,648.52.
If I may.
Mhm.
So I'd like to just put out there that most of those expenses over $1,000 are for payroll and insurance. We also have the news as well as a audit, so that's where we come up with those payments. It's over $1,000. When we look at the expenses for this month.
Can you explain what the $3,500 Dr. Laramie Doyle transaction is?
Yes, sir, what it was, and we had a veterinarian come out and they did an audit for our building. So that was the reason why. In fact, some of those findings, we not have animal control currently working on. We're grateful for that audit and lets us know where we are in places we need to improve that.
Okay.
I have no questions on that budget, but I wanted to thank Ms. Doyle, the city administrator, whomever it is, that managed to figure out how to get QuickBooks to populate that information so that most of it is visible to us. It does make it much easier to understand what it says. So thank you for putting that time in and figuring out how that works. And then second, I'd like to make a request for a cash flow analysis for the last 2 to 5 years. You should be able to pull that out of QuickBooks. Hopefully, since you've been able to figure that out, maybe you'll be able to do that. I would like to see what the cash flow looks like over the last 2 to 5 years in order to provide some investment opportunities or recommendations to the city council at a future meeting.
Along those lines, yes, and we can do that. So two things. Yes, Dr. Johnson and our city secretary did get that information in. But I also want to highlight that because we operate with Treasury Connect, which you may see in these transactions, there's an analysis charge, right? That's the cost to have the bank account. Because we operate under that Treasury Connect, a lot of this information is populated. So it's just making QuickBooks that much more intelligent because it's directly connected to the bank, right? So there's 3 components. It's not just a normal checking account anymore. It's a specific account for municipalities, and then it's both of them putting in some work. And then to answer add to your question, I did speak to our banker recently, and he's going to prepare some information for you. So I'll connect y'all once he gets it to me, for some short-term CDs specifically for municipalities. So
Well, hold on. Are you talking about Frost Bank, sir?
yes.
Okay, we cannot invest with them.
Okay, but again, he's going to give you some information about short-term CDs. May not be with the bank, right? They're going to give you information is what I'm telling you. So before you dismiss it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, but based on our policy, we're not authorized to invest with Frost Bank based on their grade.
Correct.
So, okay, thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. I think we can try and be a little smarter with our money. And then I know you guys are looking at the taxes. So as far as the budget versus actuals, we already talked last time about the fact that our fines and fees are significantly lower. However, there are several things that we are over 50% of the budget already, and we're almost 50% through the year. So I'm asking to just confirm you guys are analyzing this as you're building out that estimate for what we might need for future
That is correct.
years.
Yep.
Is that? Thank you.
Were there any other questions on the budget?
I didn't have anything. I don't want to go into the details of all the things over budget. I just want to make sure you're taking it into consideration for the future.
If there is no other questions regarding to the budget, I could take a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the budget as presented.
Second.
I'll second that.
I did hear a second from Alderman McNeil first. So I do have a motion from Alderman Crickmere to accept the financial report as presented with a second by Alderman McNeil. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that motion carries. All right, moving right along.
At this time, we would have, Rick Murray discuss with us about the Park Advisory Committee.
Okay, the minutes from the Park Advisory Committee meeting that was held March 3rd at 5 p.m. at the Community Center in Tom Rapino Park. There was roll call. Everyone was there. Ms. Sarmiento arrived at 5:20 p.m., a little bit late. Update on the wooden entrance ramp to the community center. Public Works has agreed to do the repair work, which they've almost 100% completed already. Off to a good start. Handrails have already been replaced at this time when we had the meeting. Committee members suggested that any painting and surface work be done on a Monday, as that will leave at least one day where access to the building will not be necessary. Update on the Tom Rapino Park sign, the entrance sign, the metal sign. The prospective vendor, Nikolai Pop, stated that he is no longer interested in the project, so I need to search for a new vendor.
Wasn't
The
that,
man-
did you
Pardon?
look for De La Garza, or didn't you look for something else?
There was a guy, yeah, for $9,500, the people across I-37. Right.
Oh, I never saw it, so I didn't know if you ever heard back from them.
No, I mean, we met and that's
Okay.
what the bid they gave me.
Okay.
And this was prior to the last meeting we had.
Well, maybe I missed it.
Council meeting.
Okay,
Easter happenings. There's an Easter celebration at the community center scheduled for Saturday, March 28th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. at the community center. Hot dogs as well as other goodies will be provided for kids and grown-ups. I saw Ann bagging up a lot of candy yesterday, so there'll be candy. And I think Miss Sarmiento is going to be the Easter bunny if she's up to the task.
she still has bunnies, right? She still has little bunnies,
Yeah, I
right?
guess.
Okay,
Got one in the oven.
that's what I meant.
We discussed the community center sign that's gonna be in front of the community center. This isn't the Tom Rapino sign at the entrance. This is the one that's we've all suggested that it look like the same style and material as the sign in front of the municipal complex on Priest Road. So we haven't done anything about that, but we're in agreement and we need to contact that vendor and see about getting a quote and go over some details.
I don't think that vendor's in operation anymore,
Probably not, but we could,
but somebody can
yeah,
make something very similar.
right. Same type of thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next meeting will be April 7th at 5 p.m. at the community center. And then we adjourn. Is any questions? That's what happened.
Thank you, Alderman Crickmore. All right, are there any questions for the Park Advisory Committee Chair? If not, we will move on to D, Police Department.
Good evening. As far as new business and updates, I want to start off by saying we have a code enforcement official. His name is Mr. George Aguilar. George, can you stand up? George will be taking his code enforcement officer state certification test on March the 28th. He's already completed all the prerequisites and he'll take his state exam March 28th, correct? So if he passes, or not if, but when he passes, he will be a code enforcement officer. But I want to start off my announcements with that. Second, we have an audit on March 25th. CJIS, they'll be here March 25th to audit our department. Another announcement, Officer Franco obtained his Master Peace Officer certification. That is the highest level of certification that you can obtain in the state of Texas. Officer Franco just obtained his.
Awesome.
And also, our department has been invited to, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but our department has been invited to be a part of the Stop Human Trafficking Task Force due to the amount of sexual assaults and human trafficking that we've had here. And we'll be attending that first meeting on March the 19th. So it's good as far as networking goes. It's the reason why we've reached out and been asked to be a part of it, though, is not a good reason, right? We have a lot of those types of calls here, but I think it's going to be an asset to our department. So, March 19th is the first meeting that we will be attending. They've been around for a while, but we've just been invited to be a member of that, of course. So those are the new business updates that I have. And then,
Who would be in attendance?
for that meeting, I believe all of us are attending.
Joel?
Yes, all of us. So actually, Officer Franco was the one that he initiated the contact with these people. And then they've been communicating with Lieutenant Alvarez, because Lieutenant's already a member of a separate human trafficking task force. So it's just more networking for us. But we're at this point, we're all scheduled to attend.
In the morning or afternoon or the details?
I'd have to check on that, but it's going to be in City of San Antonio Police Department. But there's several agencies that are involved in that task force, federal, state, and local as well.
Are there any questions for our chief of police?
I had a couple questions. So your report indicates there was a missing child. Was that child located?
Yes, it was located.
And then it says that there was 20 information reports. What kind of things are information reports?
Non-criminal reports. So that's the way that the different dispatchers sometimes title things differently, but an information report is a non-criminal type report that we take, and it's just an information report. Sometimes we have non-criminal reports that we title like civil standbys or whatever it may be titled that we title as. Sometimes dispatch will title it the actual title that it is, like a civil standby or a civil custody report, and sometimes they just mark it down as an information report. But anything that's titled information report is non-criminal. It's just information we took down because maybe one of the parties might need it for some type of civil matter in the future, and we have it documented.
All right, thank you. And then my last question. The report indicates that there was a terroristic threat. I was just wondering, given the current state of events in the world, do we have some sort of response process, some sort of standard procedure for responding to terrorist threats?
Okay, so I understand the question, and I'm going to address that in two parts. A terroristic threat, though, has nothing to do with any type of terrorist activity. Let me clear that one up real quick. That's a type of threat. It can be done by phone, in person, social media. That's where I've committed a threat to you of bodily injury, bodily harm, whatever the case may be. I've now done a terroristic threat towards you. Now, I believe in the question you're asking is, and it's been on my agenda here, I'm trying to figure out who to reach out to. So should something happen in the city of San Antonio, being as it is lots of military installations, and I need to reach out to Bexar County, right? And that's going to be my first step on trying to figure out what is their protocol going to be, so we can kind of fall in line with that as far as if anything was to happen here. I don't have the protocol yet with Bexar County, but that is on my agenda to get with them.
It's Bexar County Emergency Management. So it's the same people that call us about weather, like when
Right.
there's fires and things like that. It's the same people. And I can make those connections for you.
Awesome. Great.
So yeah, the protocol is,
Thank you.
yeah, the protocol is to get with Bexar County Emergency Management, and then they'll basically mobilize and come into the city to assist.
The closed cases, anything on that? What are those about?
Those cases?
Yes.
The cases that we've either closed for prosecution or closed for non-prosecution, but those are cases that have been closed out, either submitted to the DA's office or submitted internally for non-prosecution.
Right. What are they about? What kind of cases were they?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't break those down by each one, but they're cases from prior months that are either now submitted to the DA's office for criminal cases or non-criminal cases that we close out internally, and they're closed cases. They're no longer pending investigation. But I couldn't tell you what, if it was an assault or a threat or anything off the top of my head on those.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you provide an explanation for the disparity between Officer Franco and Sergeant Palomares? Between their stops by officers?
Yeah, so Sergeant Palomares is assisting with misdemeanor investigations as well. So she and Officer Franco is not. So his main job and priority is patrol. Whereas Sergeant Palomares is doing dual role, patrol and investigation. So she's assisting on misdemeanor investigations at this time because we have, aside from all of the either aggravated assault or sexual assaults or any type of felony investigation that comes in that Lieutenant and I are working on. She does assist us with those as well. But her main priority as far as investigation line goes is misdemeanor cases to be submitted to the DA's office. Whereas she does that and patrol, which is why she doesn't have as many traffic stops as Officer Franco.
Is she in the office 50% of the time, or what would you say?
That's going to vary on what's happening at this time. How many cases does she have pending at this time, opposed to that could be today she could be in there 80% and tomorrow 10%, right? It depends on what she's working on. We don't know what's going to happen from day to day. That's in with our job.
Okay, thank you.
Also like to add, in preparation of the audit, she has spent a lot more time in the office just preparing for that. While we have Andrew on the road a lot more.
Any more questions for the police department?
Before we move forward, we are happy to have Mr. George here. Want to give you the chance to say anything? Have anything to say?
Well,
Can you come to the podium? I think there's a mic there, right?
okay.
Yeah. Just so it picks up on the audio.
Nope, really don't have much to say, but just of course, my years of experience with the city of San Antonio. I have 26 years of service with them. And that's what I'm bringing over here with y'all. Looking at everything that we're going through, just gonna try to beautify the city and going forward with that, trying to make everything go great and have a lot of transparency when it comes to the city and our ordinance. That way the public can know what I'm all about and what we expect from our citizens in this in the city. So that way they know that I'm going out there and enforcing code as well as they understand code. So I will make my presence, or I have been making my presence known to the public already. So a lot of the residents didn't realize that we have a code enforcement or code itself. But yeah, so I'm gonna go out there and make sure that the public does know what code enforcement is and the codes that we have in place right now, so that way they can understand. So we're gonna proceed forward and make our city better, pretty much.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Glad to have you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, so if there are no further questions for the police department, we will close that out and move on to unfinished business. Discussing a possible action on a contract with Municode for codification integration software, providing seamless access to ordinances. Dr. Johnson, you do have the floor.
Yes, so as director for last meeting, I still have to give with Veterans Heroes United business in order to get quotes from those guys before we can move forward with a actual something all encompassing for the website, Municode, something that's ADA compliant. Still working with those guys, but we'll have quotes for you by the 26th. However, I do, with your approval, I'd like to move forward with getting Municode in order so we can start this modification process. And the reason why is because that's separate. We can take Municode and plug it into our website And eventually, for example, the next budget, we can add other things if possible, but I'm still going to get that going. So I know that's one of the priorities for the council, for yourself to get legislation, applications done, master fee schedule. If we can get that moving, at least paid for now, and if we find something cheaper that can do the same work as Civic Plus, I think that's the best way forward. So I am requesting permission to move forward to get a contract with Unicode. The price is $9,520 a year. Starting out, and then we have a annual recurring fee of $3,450.
My only opinion on that to the council, to Dr. Johnson, is that I'd rather not piecemeal it, right? To where we're working with multiple companies. I'd rather have all integration. This is my opinion. If we're gonna flip the switch on this and it's gonna cost us some money, let's keep it all with one organization. So I think we wait until we get those bids to see who else can provide it. But that's just my opinion.
And what about the other company that gave us a quote for codification is one question. And two, we still don't have our ordinances order. And this statement of work that we're looking at indicates that we have a set amount of time from the date this agreement is signed. And we've already been working on trying to find the things we need to clean up our code. And we haven't got it yet. So those missing items with our code needs to be cleaned up as well, because if we go beyond that limit, 18 months to finish this codification process, then there's going to be an additional cost to us. So while we wait to see if we can get a full picture, we should continue to try and clean up our code. So I agree what the mayor's saying does make sense.
Alderman Moon?
I'm good with it.
Let's work on it in the next 2 weeks. Let's kind of come up with a plan to figure out any of the gaps, or to look at the document that Mayor Pro Tem sent, figure out the gaps in our ordinances, and then we can readdress again next week in the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
And then one specific thing in this statement of work, which you brought up at the previous meeting, Dr. Johnson, was to decrease that annual increase for each renewal term from 5% to 3%, but this statement of work still says 5%.
Yes, ma'am, because we didn't move forward with it, they are willing to work with us. However, they did not give us a new statement of work due to the, it hadn't been approved yet.
But understood. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no further questions, we'll move on to agenda item B. So give me a second to share my screen. Screen. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So a couple of things that I want to go through. So this is our current budget. Well, this is the newest budget. And let's scoot this way. So what I did was I took our existing budget and kind of and recreated the no new revenue, right? So basically our revenue stayed flat. Just so that way we know exactly what we're working with. And then I factored in our increase, right? What we would need to accomplish our goals, right? And so to start off, the expenses that we have, and I'm just gonna kind of scroll quickly, just so we'll go through the details line by line. I just want to show you where we're at. The total expenses equate to
Is
about
this
$2
FY
million.
26 or FY 27 that you're showing us right now?
This is 26, 27, right? So October of 26, ending
Yes.
September of 27.
October which year? October which year? So October 26 to September 20. Okay, so fiscal year 27.
Right. So next year's budget.
Okay, I just wanted, because you have both fiscal years listed at the top. A fiscal year is a 12-month period. I just wanted to clarify. This is fiscal year 27, next year.
But it runs into both. Yes, I see. Okay. So anyways, so the total expenditures that I've factored in are about $2 million annually. And then we can go through that line by line and figure out what what we want to cut, if we want to cut, and what have you. Now, with our current existing rate, right, we bring in approximately $873,000, right? That covers our maintenance and operations, that covers our current road bond, which is set to expire. Let me flip over here just to give you a date. That expires in 2037. So that's, basically 10 years from now. All right. So from there, we have our fines and fees. We have some small dollars in court security and technology. But really, that's not revenue generating. What is revenue generating is fines and fees. The permits,
Is that taking into account the decrease on the fines and fees that we're seeing this year?
yes.
Thank you.
Because I think we forecasted like 260 or something like that. So that came down to like 150 based off of trends. Could be way off, right? But we did lose a few police officers recently, and we don't know what's being dismissed or what have you. So nonetheless, then we have our CenterPoint Energy franchise fee, our
I have a
CP.
question.
Hang on, let me run through the revenue, then I'll address your question. A small $3,000 CenterPoint Energy franchise fee, $145,000 from CPS franchise fee. And these other ones are really not, these are not revenue generating. They're just like when we receive a payment from the judge for his health plan, if we receive some from opioids, if we receive a donation, or again, nothing. And then the other biggest one is sales tax, right? The Cross Guard Fund is minuscule, but again, it's not really contributing to our overall budget. It's specifically for Cross Guards. So then that puts us at approximately 1.4 million. So as you can do the math, 2 million minus 1.4 is a $600,000 gap. Now I will take your question now, Mr.
Is the
Brickman.
fines and fees net or gross? Because we have to pay out to the court and to the state or the county whatsoever.
That's a good question, and they are gross. They
That's
are
the
gross.
amount.
So
the
it could
net
be
amount
less.
Would be probably
Less.
less than half, wouldn't it?
I don't know about half, but it could be, yeah. But as it's, yeah, so there's that possibility, but that's an expense. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I guess we should cut it in half, but either way, I think the big picture is that we're about $600,000 away from getting everything that we want to do, right? And this is maintaining the administrator, and then we can go look at salaries, right? So that way you can see my equations. All right, so this does include the city administrator, the city secretary, the community director, minus the city administrator, because that's kind of what I've forecasted him to be at next year. These should have about 10% built in for, if they were to, except for the part-timers, right? For a increase in salary year over year, and then to account for overtime, right? So it's 5%, 5% increase for cost of living plus whatever we decide to give them, and another 5% for overtime. All right, so I tried to factor that in based off of what we see year over year. Then we move down. This does include a court clerk and a deputy clerk, just in case we decide to have it. We go down. This does include the website rework and codification of 50,000. This does include an ACO, 2 ACOs, and a kennel tech. So I added a few positions here just to kind of play around with the numbers. So we would, essentially promote this one. We would have a new lieutenant, the chief, the sergeant, patrol, and then code enforcement.
So we're going down to 3 patrolmen. We're not gonna go back
Well,
up to the 4 where we wanted to be.
The idea is the sergeant is still a patrolman. And then, of course, the new lieutenant also has patrol duties. So, I mean, again, it's just is all speculation, right? We can decide, no, we don't want the new lieutenant, and we want just 4 patrols, right? So then this turns into 45,000 or 50,000, whatever it may be. But this was just kind of throwing out all the options there.
If
Yes,
the
sir.
new lieutenant needs a vehicle, is that gonna be another expense?
It could, if they're gonna need a commute, but we could figure something out. This does include the Public Works Director, the Public Works to 2 employees for the Public Works. And those were my salary kind of speculations. So that being said, right, I mean, I think me and Dr. Johnson went through all the expenses and tried to figure out, okay, what could we cut? What makes sense? And I think we operate as about as lean as possible. I don't think we're buying too much. We're not buying any new equipment year over year. We're going based off of what we've done in the past. So that being said, obviously I'll send this out. If you want me to make some changes, I'll incorporate them, then I'll send that out so you can look at it in depth. But then what I'm getting at is how do we make that money up, right? So what we would do, my idea, right? Well, let me take that back. It's not my idea. It's the math says that if we were to increase M&O taxes by 0.25, that would increase our maintenance and operations to 1.4 million. If we did an INS tax increase by 0.0375, that would increase our interest and sinking fund to 156,000, which would be about 1.6 million. Then you add in the court franchise fee and the sales, that equals $2 billion, right? So that gets us to our goal. Now you may be wondering, well, why are you going to increase the INS? Well, so then as you can see, I have a tab here labeled something specifically. And so that is specific for a new animal control or animal shelter. That's about $1 million based off of the previous estimates that I've had with our city engineer. This would include a parking lot. This would include the full furnishing of the building. This would, in theory, relocate all our public works and animal control officers to wherever this new building is. And so that's why I have this INS increase built in as well, which
What does
Was-
INS stand for again, sir?
interest in sinking.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is the new animal control grant, would the grant pay 100% or is it a
We would have to match.
we have to match?
Yeah.
So that'd be $500,000 on $1 million building?
If it's a 50%, yeah. So we would still have to, and I don't know if you can do that, right? You can increase your taxes to pay for the grant. I'm not too sure if you can do that, but where would we get $500,000, right? This is the only other way I can see it would happen is by doing another bond.
You have a yard sale.
Yeah. So
You're looking at a 25-cent increase in property tax.
correct.
That's going to be. I mean, that have to go to the voters.
Yes.
And this
yes.
is all. This would all be just a.
It's all speculatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did kind of the math, and I think this is right. I'm still need to double check it. But you would take your tax bill on a $250,000 home, right? And you would go from $800 to 1,580. So you'd about double their taxes.
Would there be an impact if you have the homestead exemption? Would that matter in this? So what?
Yeah, because you could only tax up to $140,000 the homestead exemption.
I don't know.
So there would be an increase no matter what, because you can tax to a certain level.
Right.
But obviously with this example, I would do the same math, but at $140,000, because that's the only amount that you can tax for a homestead exemption. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, something like that. I think
How
it
much
goes up
was
to-
the salary for that deputy and the new lieutenant that you added to this budget?
77, I want to say, is the new lieutenant, and I want to say that includes like overtime. Let's see here.
Okay, and then for the deputy that you added,
patrolman?
Like the patrols.
not the police department, the next to the court where you have the
15,000, which is
the deputy
part-time,
clerk.
$15.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
$15.
part-time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we need to justify every little bit if we're gonna be asking to double their taxes.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So we would have to, we would have to work with the engineer, come up with a design, right? We're gonna have to pay for that. And then we're gonna have to go on parade and talk through it and why do we want to increase taxes? Right? I can certainly justify, because I don't receive a salary, y'all don't receive a salary. I can certainly justify the new building. The new building is the easiest one, right? It's really not much. It's the maintenance and operations that's significant.
Yeah, I
But
think
I mean,
the two new employees are gonna be the hardest to justify.
sure, sure. And we can go back and, we can delete things, right? I mean, to be fair, right? Let's talk this through, right? Just so I get no decisions are being made
Salaries
today.
include benefits.
Yeah.
Savings,
Yeah.
retirement
Yeah.
and.
Well,
healthcare,
the salaries are the salaries. The benefits are on other line
Social
items.
Security.
Yeah, all that's are on different line items, but are
It's in
all
there,
accounted
right?
for. Yes. So I mean, to be fair, right? You could, I mean, and this is not a ton of money either, right? But you could scratch the community center director. Just hear me out. I know, just hear me out. You could scratch the deputy clerk, right? You could scratch the kennel tech. You could scratch again the new lieutenant and just say, okay, we're gonna just make these 3 other patrols, right? Honestly, we're gonna probably lose Jacob at the end of this year, so you could scratch Public Works and just have them run off of 2. So I mean, there are salaries that we can cut.
What's the community center?
But what is the
director?
impact to the service to the citizens if we're cutting these employees
Sure.
and increasing your taxes? So, yeah, we need to do that analysis too, so we can, so why do we not need that third public works employee that we've had for some time?
I got you. I got
mean,
you.
just things like that.
Yeah, no, and
Just if we're gonna try and sell this, we need that full story.
yeah. Well, no. And this was just an idea of like, okay, where could we bring down? Because ultimately, right, our revenue's our revenue, it's our expenses. So we've got to figure out how to bring down our expenses to be $1.4 million, right? Because if that's about the amount of revenue that we can bring in, we just need to make our expenses match that somehow. And the only way materially that you can do that is by cutting salaries, because that's our most expensive part. And I mean, we can go and cut everybody's salary, but then, the level of spend that we normally have is obviously not going to be there. Now, that being said, I mean, if we're not going to do, let's just say, an animal control building, I don't know if we can dump it all back into, hold on, let me add some, I don't know if we can give it back to the county. I don't know if that's a possibility, but if we don't want to increase our taxes for a new building, why do we even have animal control? Right? I mean, there's $100,000 right there.
If we start talking about what our priorities are, and we can all sit here and say, yeah, everybody wanted an administrator. That was the most important thing, administrator. And then you look at the next most important thing for the community and even any city is your police is your largest budget.
Yep.
And after that, so people are complaining about animals, the dogs. So you've got animal control. So they're all required. They're all needed. You can't cut one just to save the other.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah.
But where do if we don't want to raise taxes to that level, right? Well, we still have to cut expense so that way when we do raise taxes, it's not to that degree, right? It's just to get our expenses, our salaries in line with our revenue. And then it's a small increase to say, we're going to purchase a new building. We want a new building for animal control that holds 25 kennels, that has room up front for kittens and cats, and a room up front for puppies, and keep them all separated and can easily be drained and washed and can be sterilized and is compliant. Because I mean, why throw money at a bad building, right? Good money after bad. I don't think that's good fiduciary. I don't think we're being a good fiduciary to just continue to dump money into something that's never going to be compliant.
That report indicates that building needs way too much work.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, when I saw the report, I was like, okay, let's really put pen to paper and come up with an idea. And that's why I talked to originally to the bank about a bond, because I was like, well, we have a bond, right? There's no reason why we couldn't do another bond. One of the biggest complaints when I moved here, when we did the bond, is well, why should my taxes pay for that street that I don't drive on? And that's fair. Which is the same argument you can make, well, why do my taxes pay for the schools district that I don't live in, that I don't
Right.
send my kids to? And that's fair too. But you know what? It's all of us in the community doing our part, right? And so-
Mr. Hey, Mayor?
Yep.
You know, we're talking about revenue and,
Mhm.
where do we stand on annexing that area at the end of Waterwood? I mean, that's a chunk of change right there.
It is.
Where do we stand as far as the annexation?
Unrelated to this point, but I think the last we
I think
heard,
it's
we
totally,
sent
I think it's totally related to this point.
it. Yeah,
I
but
think
but
there's gonna
I'll
be-
answer
We
your
spent a
question.
lot of money last month talking to the attorney about it. There was, I mean, over 3 hours worth of build time talking about it. So
I've
it's
dri-
a legitimate question.
I've driven out there. There's no street name signs. There's no stop signs. There's no street lights. There's still a lot of infrastructure that needs to be done out there. And we're gonna end up sucking that up if the developer doesn't take care of it. But
Well,
Assuming
revenue
we
itself,
annex it.
yeah, I
So
mean,
to answer your question though, I don't think there's been too much progression. Dr. Johnson, you've probably been more privy to conversations. What was the last that you had with them? I think you gave them some documentation that they were going to present to their attorney, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we provide documentation, and they plan on moving forward, however, at their pace. What they want to do is hopefully get all the lots sold and then eventually come over to because of our stipulations, some of the stipulations we have as far as module homes a year and things like that. But they are interested in coming over. We just, the documents that we provided, the owner's gonna have her attorney look at it and we come to an agreement to move forward. What we can do now, we could possibly ask them to stop and then read out the sign that they have in front of Dollar General. A possibility, however, that their plan is to reach out to their attorney and let us know when they're ready to move forward.
Once those lots get
This-
sold,
this-
we'll have to do a referendum and they may say no.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well, another point, the city attorney can confirm this, but I think if we have people living out there, there is a requirement for a certain percentage of the people that live out there to agree to the annexation.
Right.
Right.
We don't
That's
want
what-
to try to get them by referendum because they'll probably say no.
Because what service do we offer really? Other than police, which we're going to show up anyways.
They're gonna be
The county
using
will still send our police department out
ingress
there.
and egress.
Yep, 100%. So I mean, I think we do need to play ball with them, right? I mean, I know that's probably not what people want to hear, but you know what? I think we need to go back to the conversation and say, what can we do to make this move forward, right? And they may say, and and I hate to use this language, that's the shitty part is they may say, put up the signs and we'll continue to progress forward. And we may do that, which it's a small investment, but then they still may say no. So I mean,
Right.
we want
Why give them
want
an investment until we see progress?
because we want the tax revenue, right? And we want it before the referendum, because then they could still say no. So it's, you know, what do we want to get a return on our investment, or do we want to take the chance, right? I mean, it's a bit of a risk either way. But again, we're kind of sidetracking.
Yeah.
Is there any
So
other
what is the
angles?
next step as far as this budget's concerned? Now that we've looked at this, I mean, because even if we cut some of those extra pieces, the extra personnel, the two that you've added, and you've also identified a few that maybe we already currently have that we could eliminate, but we still have a need to raise the taxes, even if we do that.
So I think at this point, right, then we decide, okay, do we want to go ahead and send it to the voter? And then we have to start campaigning for it, right? So we got to have town halls. The city attorney's got to, she'll basically put it all together for us. But we got to have town halls, open meetings, to where people can come in and ask questions. And if I remember, like the last time we did it with the bond, right? It was at City Hall. It was at the park at the time, and it was just an open dialogue, right? Tell me about why you think this is a good idea. or tell me why you don't think it's a good idea, and you answer their questions, right?
I mean,
I
I think
think-
that's what we need to do. We need to let the citizens tell us, do we want to keep animal control? Do we want a new animal control facility? Do we want to hire another lieutenant? Do we want to keep these other positions? I think we need to get the citizens to provide us feedback on that and let them know that if they want any of this, it's going to result in an increase in taxes, and the amount of that increase in taxes is going to depend on how much of this stuff they want. And if they don't want an increase in taxes, they're going to have to give up some stuff that they currently have.
Mhm.
But let's get them to talk to us and tell us.
So I think the decision to make is, I think we all, I don't know, based off of this conversation, I think we all want to at least put it to the vote, right? So we have time to come up with more information, but I think the decision is, do we want to send it to the voters, right? And we have until August to decide that. I think overall the answer is yes, and then let them decide. And then in the meantime, right, we're campaigning. We're campaigning as to, okay, well, what do you want? What don't you want? And then that's pretty much it, right? So we can the two options that'll be on the vote are, do you want to increase the taxes to pay for X, Y, and Z, or do you not? I'll be honest with you. I think school districts obviously different, but like East Central had their tax bond partially declined, right? So you give them stages of it, right? This portion is going to go for this. This portion is go for that. This portion is going to go for this, right? So there would be multiple options on the ballot. You know, do you want to raise your taxes by 0.037 to fund animal control's new building, right? That would be the first option on the ballot. The next one is, do you want to raise, sorry, go ahead.
I think we wait and base the different stages of what we're going to give them based on the feedback we get from them. So do we need some sort of motion to move this forward so that we can start doing the town halls and getting that feedback from the citizens? What do we do to start moving this if the city council is in agreement that we need the citizens' opinions?
Then, I mean, we could certainly take a motion, and then that'll at least record what we're doing. And then we can get with Cassandra to say, all right, tell us what we need to start having some town halls.
Yeah, I move that we take this to the citizens and start getting their opinions on what we can and cannot pay for and what they're willing to do, pay for with a tax increase. Take it to the citizens.
We do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I do have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman McNeil to take this to the citizens. This is up for discussion. Dr. Johnson, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. So I do want to make mention that it is required to go up to the public based off a certain increase. So the percentage, however, if we go 2% increase, it's not required to go before the public.
Right, but this will be more than a 2% increase, so,
We're looking at.
Yeah.
But that's just another option if we don't want to go as high
sure.
and
Oh,
we
yeah,
want to increase. So that's just another tool that we have in our toolbox to use.
yeah, and there was another option that, well, to this point, there is another
She had
option.
another option. But I think we need to hear from the citizens. What do they want their taxes to go towards?
What about a mail out survey? I know it'd be expensive to do a mail out, but that might be the best way to reach the public.
We should do a mail out to get people to engage, at
Correct.
least. There's
Yeah, I
gotta
think
be
we talk
something
to
at
the
the door.
attorney and see what this looks like to take it to the citizens. But
But
what do
we've got
they
a
want us to
limited
do with
window, right? We gotta
Yeah.
stress, we got a limited window, so we've got to act quickly. So I do
That's
have a
why
motion.
that's why I made the motion now.
All right, so I do have a motion and a second by Alderman McNeil to push forward this budget. The thought of increasing taxes to the public for discussion and open dialogue. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All right, that motion carries. Dr. Johnson, if you can queue up an email with our city attorney to let her know that we want to start meeting with the public. And if she can just give us a schedule or something like that.
Sure.
I got a question on the animal control building.
Mhm.
Can we get a grant and a bond? Can we get a bond to cover what the grant doesn't pay?
I think we need to make that a topic on the agenda for a future discussion, sir.
Okay, I'll agree with that. No problem.
All right. Then let's move along to 7C, discussing or possible action to appoint citizen complaint review board members as required by ordinance 2021-181. Let me stop my share. Oh, by the way, sorry, do you want me to send this document out for you to review?
Email it to the council? Yes, please.
Okay, I will. All right, so then let's move on to agenda item 7C. Alderman McNeil, did you want to speak to that? Or do you
Yeah, I'll
want to
speak
table?
on it. We may wait till Alderman Walker gets back. But the biggest issue she had with this was the original ordinance places a city employee and a police officer on the board, which is highly frowned upon by Texas. And she provided me some information from the TML talking about the area where the current ordinance may not meet the Texas government code. One of them's the complaint handling process. The ordinance allows the board to receive and investigate complaints, but the Texas law requires complaints be in writing and signed. And the ordinance should explicitly require this to ensure compliance with section 614.022. Officer notification. The ordinance does not clearly state that officers will receive a copy of the signed complaint before any action is taken. Confidentiality and due process. While the ordinance requires non-disclosure agreements, it should also reference the statutory confidentiality requirements and due process rights for officers. Board authority. The ordinance gives the board investigative powers and the ability to make recommendations, which is generally permissible. However, it must be clear that the board cannot impose discipline or interfere with ongoing criminal investigations in line with state law. And then membership restrictions. The ordinance, as previously stated, the ordinance allows police officers to serve as voting members. Some interpretations of best practices and state laws suggest that oversight boards should be civilian led to avoid conflicts of interest. Some of the recommendations were to be in compliance with the government code is the explicitly require all complaints to be in writing and signed. State that officers will receive a copy of the signed complaint before any action is taken. Clarify the board's role as advisory only and cannot impose discipline. Reference statutory confidentiality and due process protections. Consider restricting voting memberships to civilians only. Law enforcement officers should not be on the board, and city employees should not be on the board. So that's the gist of what she's wanting to do with moving forward with to modify ordinance 2021-181. I think we could probably make a motion to go ahead and so we can go ahead and modify this or have it so we can start working on it now while she's out even. So
Maybe send those notes to the attorney to incorporate them.
okay.
You know,
I'm sure if we just ask the city attorney to make them compliant with the code.
Alderman Tremblay.
Yeah, initially, when we drafted this ordinance initially, the city attorney, provided her input as far as who served on the board as well. If we're looking to having all these board members coming from the community, from the public, and you're not going to have a police officer on the board, you're not going to have a city employee, and it's one of each currently. So I don't know how we got to that point where that's how it's written in the existing ordinance. And the city attorney, approved it. I mean,
Yeah, I can push this to.
I think we need to let
push it to there.
we need to let the city attorney explain or tell us why it's written the way it is before we move forward with trying to amend the ordinance.
Or Dr. Johnson, you have the same notes, right? Can you push that to the attorney? Because that way she can look at it and like Alderman Walker mentioned that's the information she got from TML that they provided her. So
So it could be, I mean, considering it was written in 2021, I mean, it could be just that it's outdated, right? Stale, so.
Yeah, did the Texas code change? And when you're looking at the Texas code, you can see what date it was revised.
I don't have the Texas code in front of me.
So maybe we just talk
Do you know what
to,
the code number is? I'll look it up.
Um,
All right, that's fine. We'll let the city attorney look it up. Because
yeah,
yeah.
in the notes, it
Alderman
has,
Tremblay's correct. We need an explanation for why it doesn't match.
it has the sections in the notes that she provided, 614-022, 614-023. That's the right numbers. But, the city administrator's got those notes and can you push that out to everybody in council and to the attorney too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we need to do anything else for this? Or we're just gonna informally send that over to the attorney or?
yeah, I think we'll keep it on the unfinished business for discussion at the next one, but I think Dr. Johnson can go ahead and get that over to the attorney and just kind of prep her to explain why there's been these, or not why there's been changes, but why did we go with that previously, if she recalls, and then are we in compliance with current law? I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, and I've been advertising on social media, Nextdoor, Facebook for the CCRB, and I don't think we've gotten anybody.
And that's an issue. When we say, we're not gonna put a city employee and a policeman on the board, you're not gonna get people to stand up and want to serve on these boards.
Okay. All right, so then let's just continue to move forward. We'll keep that on the next agenda. All right, discussing our possible action on amending ordinance 2022-217, establishing the Sandy Oaks Police Department and related matters. Let me pull this up here.
Yes, sir. This here is for the second reading.
Oh, it is for the second reading, okay.
Yes, sir. That was made.
Is this the second reading? I thought last time we just asked the city attorney to go modify the ordinance and bring us back a new one.
Yes, ma'am, which is, it's also, there was, small changes that need to be made, which is in your file as well. So changes that was made and then second reading.
But that we didn't read the ordinance. We didn't have the ordinance at the last meeting. We had ordinance 217. And I made a motion to have the city attorney update the ordinance with the new information.
That draft? We had a draft that's 268. Did y'all get that?
Yeah, 269.
I mean, 269.
268, we already passed. That was rescinding 201.
Right.
Yeah, 269, because I just changed the number. It was a draft that was in the.
Correct. We have it for now. This should be the first reading. We didn't have it last week.
Right.
Is all I'm saying.
Thought we did ask to bring it up for second reading. Something was asked to be put up for second reading.
267 was asked to go up for the second reading.
Was it 267?
That was the one to rescind 201. And then 268, or it's the other way around. One of them was handheld and one of them was rescinding 201. We never did the second reading on the ordinance that was to rescind ordinance 201. Last week, what we talked about was modifying 217 to change section 5, paragraph E to reflect the positions that are listed in the personnel policy manual. But this is such a minor change. I think we should waive the second reading on this one anyway, because it's no impact really to the citizens. It's more about listing which positions the chief of police is authorized to consider for the police department. So I think whether this is first or second, I think I would move that we approve City of Sandy Oaks ordinance number 2026-269, an ordinance of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, amending ordinance 2022-217, establishing the Sandy Oaks Police Department, and waive the second reading. That's my motion, sir.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem Madero to approve ordinance number 2026-269, an ordinance of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, establishing An ordinance of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, amending ordinance number 2022-217, establishing the Sandy Oaks Police Department and waiving the second reading, followed by a second by Alderman McNeil. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, wait,
Okay.
did anybody want to talk about it, sir? Because we didn't talk about the ordinance itself. I'm sorry.
True.
I made that motion. Anyone have any issues with the motion? I would ask before we actually vote, sir.
Didn't sound like it, but does anybody have questions?
Because we already changed. I think those changes and everything.
All right, so then I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. All right, that motion carries. Moving right along. Okay, discuss and or possible action on pay rates for animal control officers and related matters. And do we want to take this to an executive session?
I think we have 3 things listed for executive session,
You're
sir.
right.
The executive session is just item 9.
You're right. Okay, so then let's hold off on 8A. Let's discuss item 8B, discuss under possible action on ordinance establishing minimum distance requirements for registered sex offenders from city parks and recreation areas. Dr. Johnson, you do have the floor.
Yes, so would like to request an ordinance be created in order to restrict registered sex offenders from schools, parks, well, schools more so, as well as crosswalk here to protect our children. So I'm asking for the ordinance to be created and move forward.
So do we have any crosswalks in this town?
I don't think is it crosswalks? Bus stops, bus stops.
The ordinance says city parks and recreation areas is all that's stated in the agenda, sir.
But, I'm fine with sticking with that. However, we do have 6 bus stops here in the city, so just want to become a little bit more restrictive on where these personnel can be at as far as close to our children.
Can we add that, given that it's not on the agenda? Were the citizens given enough notice?
I mean, we couldn't force people to move anyways. So it would be anybody new that would be registering in the area. However, I think the idea is right. I think we just need to have a discussion, probably need to table it for now and have a discussion with our city attorney about this in our next regularly scheduled meeting. I think that's really the only
Well,
motion that
I think we should authorize the city administrator to go ahead and have the conversation with the city attorney about what we can and cannot do, and potentially come to us with what the recommendation is in a draft ordinance so that we can do this sooner rather than later.
There you go.
Is this registered sex offenders?
Yes. It's the unregistered ones that we worry about.
Yeah. I mean, is this something that the police department, the chief, does he agree that this is something that we should be doing and this is standard in other cities?
Yes, so this was actually brought to our attention by San Antonio. They were speaking with Lieutenant Alvarez and was like, hey, this is actually, it was the task force people brought it up. Hey, this is what we've done in some of our areas was create these type of ordinances, right? But I do agree, I would like to get the city attorney's input on it prior to moving forward with it, but that's how we came about even hearing about this was through the city of San Antonio.
Yeah, I think we need to just move it to unfinished business, have that conversation happen and recommendations from the city attorney at our next meeting. Whether that's just recommendations or actually a draft ordinance that the city administrator wants to present to us, but we don't need to wait to talk to her about it. I think this is important enough to proceed forward with. Anyone else having a thought on that?
Do we even need a motion for it? Certainly
I don't think
can.
we need a motion for the city administrator to start talking, but I'm more than happy to make one if we need one.
Nope, let's move along. Dr. Johnson, you got your instructions, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Any other questions on it? John, you good?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right. Moving on to,
Oh, Mayor, I think the item under 7C was to appoint citizens, and item under 8, the next one you're gonna move to, was to discuss the amending the ordinance. 181.
oh, yeah. Well, we would need CJ here to go through it anyway, so we can put that to
Yeah,
unfinished
and then
business
I
as well.
don't think we can really, yeah, I don't think what was 7C we can really do until we get 8C taken care of, in my opinion. But Alderman McNeil would know better since he's been part of that.
No, that's fine. Like I said, we've been trying to get citizens on there, and I explained the other stuff about the ordinance getting changed, and the city administrator's gonna get with the attorney to see about these changes. I don't have anything else to discuss on that unless y'all do.
Okay, so then we'll table that one as well for the next meeting. Okay, so it looks like 8D is another item we are to discuss in executive session. And then so is 8E. So then the last item we want to talk about is discuss on our possible action for projects of Texas Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Downtown Revitalization Grant. So, and I'll kind of point this one out, right? So I got wind of a downtown revitalization grant, and well, where exactly is that? Well, per our master plan, it's downtown, it's Priest Road, and right in front of the Valero, all in that area. So I originally reached out and said, okay, that's perfect. Let's redo that road. It eliminates blight and blum. It creates, it cleans up our drainage. However, in working with TxDOT, they first did not claim to have ownership of the road. Now they went back and took it. So they're going to work on that road by the end of the year. I think they're going to fix the edging, and then eventually they'll work it into the budget to completely redo that road right in front of the Valero, the Dollars General, and then leading up to the curve here into Sandy Oaks. So based off of what I sent y'all, was there anything that y'all could think of else that we could utilize that grant for? That was my initial thought, was that road.
Is the area over by the Dollar General, is that still considered our eligibility downtown?
I'd have to look at the master plan. I don't think it is. I think it's just the road that leads right up to it. But I'd have to look at that master plan.
Because that's where our stores are, and maybe some sidewalks, because this email you sent us includes a comment that we could do sidewalks.
Yeah.
It's got rehabilitation or demolition of blighted structures. Would that be something that could help the animal control with or not?
It's got to be downtown.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if
Gotcha.
thinking of downtown, which is right here in front of us. I mean, the only thing I could think
Can
of
you
is
verify how much is actually downtown and send us an email so we can come back with any recommendations, since we can't do that road in front of the gas station? And
Yep.
if we know what areas we're considering, we can drive by and see if we see anything that fits in this email that you've sent us, because I'm sure there's got to be something we can come up with once we know what our downtown area is.
Yep. Let me hold on. I'll tell you right now. Give me 1 second.
Wouldn't that include the shops on New Mathis?
Potentially,
That's what I
right?
just
But
asked them.
that's the thought. I'm trying to see where's our. Zoning. The website's acting kind of funky.
They done really specify extended terms.
Okay, so looking at the master plan, downtown is Downtown district is in blue, so that is essentially, no, it's the corner right here where we're at. Up to the Sandy Oaks entrance, right? Up to the sign, right? Does that make sense? So where our sign is, right there, that says Sandy Oaks, that is all considered downtown district.
But where the stores are is not. That's interesting.
Correct. I mean, granted, this is 20 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago. So should it be updated?
Yeah,
Sure.
we
But I
need
mean,
to change our downtown district to start at that corner and go all the way to where the shops are.
yeah.
I believe our engineer is working on an updated master plan map to show us.
Some recommendations. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if it can be used. I don't recall if it can be used to purchase property or real estate, but the building, the property next to us is for sale, and I mean that's considered downtown. I don't remember reading that in the stipulations, but
No, I don't see what it says too. It says infrastructure improvements.
yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to present that idea.
Well, it says infrastructure improvements that support limited commercial activity while preserving the city's rural character. So would purchasing that property on the corner be preserving our city's rural character? But it has nothing to do with infrastructure.
Make an argument for anything, right? We just gotta.
That would be bad for our tax base if the city owned it.
Yeah.
It would be negative.
Well, yeah.
That's a valid point.
Unless we invested in, unless we make our, well, no. I don't know. Anyways,
So they're gonna, can we put well, there's no reason to put sidewalks along that portion of the road either. And they're gonna
No.
do this, fix the street and do the drainage.
Yeah.
Our downtown district is too limited, I think, for us to be able to use this, but this would have
Yeah.
been a good opportunity. I'm glad you found it. Maybe in the future, once we readjust what our downtown district is.
yeah. Okay. Well, look, I just wanted to present that to y'all. Because that was the initial goal, was to do that road. So I was gonna come to y'all with the budget and what it's gonna cost us and things like that, but once TxDOT took ownership of it, our engineer said, don't even try. Not because of, he doesn't want us to do the job, but because that's theirs. It's their responsibility. Let them own it. And I was hoping they were gonna say, we'll donate whatever to us, and then we can use that as our in-kind match to get it going. But it's their road. Let them own it. Let them repair it.
Okay.
And
Does
from
the
last I
city
heard,
engineer have any other suggestions of how we
For
might
down-
use this?
for downtown, no. And I did send them the stipulations, given kind of like you saw the limited, or like I explained, the limited area for downtown. It really kind of puts a stranglehold on us. I mean, the only thing I think of is drainage area, right? Like we rework those ditches, but I don't think they're not flowing correctly. I think the road's bad, so.
All right. Well, I think we keep this in our back pocket, and if we redo our downtown district, we revisit it and see if we have an opportunity to do it at that time.
Mayor, I would say, speak with the staff, and we can kind of brainstorm, see what we can come up with. Have an answer
Yeah.
for you all by next week.
Yeah, see what we can come up with for revitalizing downtown based on the stipulation as the grant.
Okay.
We can always take some more feedback. So let's leave it on the table for now. And then see if you come back with anything by the next meeting. If we don't, then we'll just leave it. Any other questions? No? All right. So then let's go ahead, and the time is now 8:05. We are going to move into a 9 executive session. Executive session to deliberate pay rates for animal control officers and related matters. Executive session B, to deliberate on hiring a police department investigator to conduct investigations and patrol duties, as well as hiring a patrol officer for patrol operations. And executive session to deliberate on hiring an animal shelter technician. We will pause the meeting and we will pick up an executive.
You mute it.
Mayor Pro Tem, can you hear us? Alderman Tremblay, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the time is now 8:36. We are in session. So then let's start with C, since I'm on that page right now. Discuss and or action on hiring an animal shelter technician. Any que-
I move that we, unless if there's no more discussion, I move that we go ahead and hire the gentleman that applied for the animal shelter technician job.
A second.
All right, I got a motion from Alderman McNeil and a second from Alderman Crickmer do you know the name?
Is
Victor
Victor,
Banuel.
Banuelos, okay. All right, so
Yes.
Banuelos, yeah. All right, so I have a motion from Alderman McNeil and a second from Alderman Crickmer to extend an offer of employment to Mr. Banuelos at a rate of $15 an hour. Is that correct? And do we have a start date?
You can start as soon as Monday, if you like.
Okay. To start as soon as possible, beginning likely next Monday. Any benefits?
No.
Okay. All right, that is the motion. Is there any discussion?
I think that was with the understanding that he gets a rabies vaccine.
All right, so let me restate then the
What's
motion.
what's the hourly rate for him? Did we specify that? What was
Like I said,
advertised?
15.
All right. Is that all part
All
of the motion then?
Yeah, let me restate it then. So the motion is brought to by Alderman McNeil and a second by Alderman Crickmer, is to extend an offer of employment to Mr. Banuelos for part-time employment at $15 an hour, beginning possibly Monday, the 16th, with the stipulation that employment is extended based off of an accepted rabies vaccination with no benefits. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? No further discussion. That item is complete. So then let's unwind a little bit. All right, working again our way up. Discuss under possible action on hiring a police department investigator to conduct investigations and patrol duties, as well as hiring a patrol officer for patrol operations.
I believe it's no action, Mayor.
No action to be taken at this time.
No action on the investigator?
No action on the investigator and the patrolman related to the agenda item.
I agree. No action at this time. Sounds good. We don't have to
I
vote.
concur.
right?
Okay. McNeil, do you want to say
No,
something?
I was for it, but
Okay. So no action taken at this time.
Mayor. Oh, after you do it.
No, go ahead.
So question, it's been approved for us to hire an officer, so should we still advertise that and to get candidates for that portion of it?
It's not on the agenda, Dr. Johnson, that's not on the agenda to advertise anything. Please add it to the agenda for next time and we can discuss which positions can be advertised.
I believe it's already on the city website that there is
Yeah.
a police officer position open.
Yeah, but based off of when Fred and Mark left, so it can remain up. All right. So then no action taken on agenda item 8D. All right, moving on to agenda item A, discuss under possible action on pay rates for animal control officers and related matters.
Is that a no action as well?
Correct.
Okay. No action to be taken on agenda item 8A. I think there's only one more item left to discuss.
I move to adjourn.
Time is now 8:40. We are adjourned. Thank you.